While you're free to visit most of the United States, unfortunately there's some places that are off limits. As much as you might want to visit places like Area 51 or locations as ominous as The Point or Forbidden Island, you'll have no luck. Here's 10 places Americans are banned from visiting. I understand something as mysterious as Hawaii's Forbidden Island might sound inviting to visitors, but unfortunately, you're going to have a difficult time trying to reach it. The island, whose actual name is Niihau, has been privately owned since 1864 and is home to around 130 locals who follow an ancient form of life. Bruce Robinson, who owns the island along with his brother Keith, are direct descendants of Elizabeth Sinclair, or the original purchaser. While you can still see the island through guided tours, it still remains off limits for visitors, and that even includes celebrities such as Mick Jagger. When Jagger asked for permission to land a couple of helicopters on the island, he received the same answer that most people have received: no. Not nearly as tropical as Hawaii, New York has its own inaccessible island, and it's not Rikers. Northern Brother Island, as it's known, without permission is illegal to visit, and if you do manage to mind yourself on it, you'll likely just see a worn-down hospital and a whole lot of birds. Now a sanctuary, the island was formerly home to a tuberculosis hospital, and one of the most famous patients of all time, Typhoid Mary, was housed there. With most, if not all of the islands covered in asbestos, the whole island has been listed as a health hazard, but it does view it as a pretty good prediction of what life will be like if or when humans leave. Maybe. I'm sure you've been to a farm, most people have, but you've definitely not been to the farm. That's the nickname given to the US military base near Williamsburg, Virginia, which is widely believed to be one of the premier CIA training grounds. Obviously, most of what takes place at the farm is under tight wraps, but reportedly it functions similarly to an independent country, with lessons on how to perform a litany of Bond-like activities, such as flipping a car. So think of the Truman Show meets Men in Black. That seems like the easiest way to describe what's going on over there, at least to the best of our knowledge. Just as shrouded in mystery as the farm is The Point, which is a testing facility for the Navy and the CIA, established after the 1961 Bay of Pigs incident. This spy school is shrouded in mystery and houses courses in all kinds of secrecy and security measures. If you manage to find yourself outside of the base, probably won't be hearing anything for a while because explosions are constantly going off for tests and the sounds of black helicopters flying through the air is deafening. So here's a word of advice: don't make it a point of visiting. But there's other military sites where you can get a little bit closer. One of those is the Trinity test site located in the New Mexico plains. If the name rings a bell, it might be because it was the first place J. Robert Oppenheimer detonated the first atomic bomb in 1945. Because of its connection to one of the most important events in United States history, it's almost exclusively sanctioned off from the public. However, twice a year, the government does do open houses, which seems like the perfect place to snap some pics. Over in the tropical rainforest of South Carolina, there is an island known as Monkey Island. Why? There's a colony of about 4,000 rhesus monkeys who call this place home. Surprisingly, the monkeys aren't originally from this South Carolina island, as they were actually relocated here from Puerto Rico. Basically, these monkeys were living in a sort of research center before moving to this island, but it was becoming overpopulated, and some of the monkeys, who carried infectious diseases, were escaping, which posed quite a health and safety risk. So South Carolina stepped in and offered this uninhabited island as a place for these monkeys to go and be researched. And while visiting them sounds like fun, it's banned and dangerous, so stick to zoos. Located in Atlanta in a secure vault is the Coca-Cola secret recipe. The recipe for Coca-Cola is said to be one of the best kept secrets in the world, and apparently only 2 employees know the formula and have access to it. Up until 1920, the recipe was under lock and key at a New York bank, before in 1925 it was transferred to the Trust Company Bank in Atlanta. Then in 2011 they decided to move it into a vault at a museum in Atlanta. This museum garners hundreds of thousands of tourists each year, including myself, but they're never allowed through the doors of the vault. In fact, only a select few exclusive Coca-Cola workers are allowed inside the vault. Now this thing is more elusive than the Krabby Patty formula. This one is the definition of creepy. So the small town of Dulce in New Mexico is said to have a secret underground facility where they do a number of wacky experiments. The first claim of this base was back in the 1930s. From there, the rumors began to skyrocket. Now it's believed that there is a 7-story compound beneath the city. And according to rumor, that's where there are human-animal hybrids and human-alien hybrids. This base has very tight security and is regarded as one of the top forbidden places in the world, not only the USA. So to that I ask, who's coming with me and bringing the shovels? Located in southeastern Eagle County, Colorado, Gilman was a beautiful town located on the edge of a cliff. But that wasn't the reason why this town was considered dangerous. Around 1984, the Environmental Protection Agency discovered hazardous levels of arsenic, cadmium, copper, lead, and zinc in the soil, soil, surface, and groundwater of the area. The area was so toxic that they demanded a full evacuation of the town. Now if you visit the area, you will see tons of signs warning trespassers. And yeah, those signs say things like hidden and visible dangers and risk of injury or death. So I would listen to the signs. There is no group in the United States more prestigious than the members of the Bohemian Club. In San Francisco, this club meets, and their campsite located at Bohemian Grove is heavily safeguarded and banned from outsiders. All kinds of weird activities take place at this camp, including robed figures participating in effigies. Some of the world's most important people have met here, and it's reportedly where they planned the Manhattan Project, so the place has some pretty significant history. And now I want to find out what I can do to get my invite in the mail. That's our list of 10 places Americans are banned from visiting. Which of these places would you like to see the most? Let us know in the comments below. And unless I've been banned from making videos, I'll see you in the next one.